Chapter 1. The Impossible Fleet. The Galactic Council had seen countless civilizations rise and fall over thousands of years. Their fleets stretched across entire galaxies, and their armies had conquered worlds without resistance. Yet today, silence filled the Grand Council chamber. Thousands of holographic screens displayed a single human fleet approaching the neutral border. The fleet wasn't the largest. It wasn't the most heavily armed, but something about it made every experienced commander uneasy. No formation was wasted. No movement was random. Every ship moved with terrifying precision. Council Speaker Zirin frowned. "Scan them again." The scanners returned the same answer. No panic, no fear, no retreat, only absolute discipline. An elderly admiral whispered words no one expected to hear. "I've seen armies before, but never one like this." Chapter 2. The Silent Soldiers. As the human fleet entered the observation zone, every council sensor focused on the flagship. The scans revealed something unusual. No loud celebrations, no aggressive broadcasts, no threats. Inside every vessel, thousands of soldiers calmly prepared their equipment. Each weapon was inspected. Each helmet was sealed. Every movement followed perfect timing. It looked less like an army preparing for war and more like a machine executing a flawless program. Council General Varek narrowed his eyes. Increase magnification. The image zoomed in on a squad of human Marines. Not one soldier spoke. Not one looked nervous. Their commander simply checked the time and nodded once. Instantly, the entire unit moved together. Not a second early, not a second late. Across the council chamber, experienced military leaders exchanged uneasy glances. One veteran finally broke the silence. "This isn't courage. It's training so complete that fear no longer controls them." For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Council began to wonder if they had badly underestimated humanity. Chapter 3. The Council's Greatest Mistake. The Council had studied humanity for decades. Their reports described humans as divided, emotional, and constantly arguing among themselves. Compared to the ancient galactic powers, Earth seemed young and disorganized. "So this is the species everyone fears," one delegate scoffed. "They can't even agree with each other." Several council members laughed. Only Admiral Threx remained silent. He had watched every battle humans had fought beyond their home system. He had seen something the others ignored. "Humans argue in peace," he said quietly. "But when they face a common enemy..." He paused as a new intelligence report appeared. Every nation on Earth had contributed ships. Every military branch had combined under one unified command. Every supply convoy was moving with perfect coordination. No political disputes. No competing admirals. No hesitation. The Council. Chapter 4. A Message Without Threats. The human fleet stopped exactly at the neutral border. Every council commander expected an ultimatum. The message was short. No insults. No demands. No boasts about humanity's strength. "My name is General Marcus Hale, Supreme Commander of the United Earth Defense Forces. We have crossed no sovereign border. We seek no conquest, but we will protect our people." The council speaker leaned forward. "Is that a warning?" General Hale shook his head. "No, it is a promise." The transmission ended. Silence settled over the chamber. Some delegates laughed, believing the humans were bluffing. Others weren't so sure. Chapter 5. The Army Hidden Behind the Fleet. The Council's long-range sensors swept across the human fleet once again. Nothing had changed. The same disciplined formation. The same calm silence. The same modest number of warships. Council General Varek smiled confidently. Then this will be over quickly. Before anyone could celebrate, the chief sensor officer interrupted. General, we're detecting something strange. Every screen shifted to deep space behind the human fleet. At first, there was only darkness. Then, one by one, faint energy signatures appeared. 10, 50, 100, 1,000. This wasn't just a battle fleet. It was an entire military civilization moving as one. General Varek's confidence vanished. They brought their entire war machine. Admiral Threx nodded slowly. No, they brought something even more dangerous. The chamber fell silent. What you're looking at isn't an army. It's a civilization prepared to fight for every one of its people. Chapter 6. The First Demonstration. An uneasy silence spread through the Grand Council chamber as the newly revealed human support fleet continued to emerge from the darkness. No weapons fired. No battle formations changed. Yet every officer in the room felt the balance of power shifting. General Varek refused to believe it. Launch reconnaissance drones, he ordered. Find a weakness. Within minutes, dozens of advanced council drones raced toward the human formation, cloaked and nearly impossible to detect. The humans noticed them immediately, not with frantic alarms, not with desperate maneuvers. A single escort frigate drifted forward. Its weapons remained cold. Instead, a pulse of blue energy swept across space. One by one, every reconnaissance drone lost power. Their engines shut down. Their sensors went dark. Without a single explosion, the drones floated helplessly through space. The human frigate transmitted on an open channel. Your equipment has been disabled, not destroyed. You may recover it after this misunderstanding ends. The message stunned the council. They spared our drones? One delegate whispered. For the first time, several council members began to wonder whether humanity's greatest weapon was not its fleet. Chapter 7. The Soldier Who Never Flinched. The council refused to accept what it had witnessed. Disabling an entire squadron of advanced reconnaissance drones without destroying a single one was beyond anything in their military doctrine. There must be a weakness, General Varek insisted. Every army has one. To test the humans, the council dispatched a diplomatic shuttle under the protection of an elite honor guard. Officially, it was a routine inspection. Unofficially, they wanted to study the humans up close. The shuttle docked with the human flagship. As the council delegation stepped aboard, they were met by a single Marine standing at attention outside the airlock. He didn't move. He didn't speak. He simply stood, calm and focused, as if carved from stone. One young council officer decided to provoke him. He stepped forward, towering over the human. So, this is the famous human army? He mocked. I expected giants. The Marine didn't react. Not a glance. Not a frown. Not even a blink. After several uncomfortable seconds, the human officer escorting the delegation smiled politely. Corporal Daniel Brooks has been standing his post for 6 hours. He was instructed to guard this airlock. Nothing more. The alien officer frowned. He ignored my insult. The escort nodded. Because his mission is more important than his pride. A heavy silence settled over the delegation. For many species, discipline meant obeying orders. For humans, discipline meant mastering themselves. As the visitors continued deeper into the flagship, Admiral Threx quietly observed the Marines still standing motionless behind them. Chapter 8. The Secret Behind Human Unity. The Council delegation walked through the human flagship, expecting chaos beneath its polished exterior. Instead, they found quiet order. Engineers repaired damaged systems without being told. Medics trained beside combat troops. Pilots studied star charts while mechanics prepared fighters for missions that had not yet been assigned. Everyone had a role. Everyone knew exactly what to do. Council scientists searched for neural implants or mind control technology. Their scanners found nothing. No hive link. No psychic network. No obedience chips. General Varek frowned. Then how do they coordinate millions of individuals? The human escort smiled. We practice. Chapter 9. The Council's Final Test. The council chamber erupted into debate. They're disciplined. They're organized. But discipline alone doesn't win wars. Despite Admiral Threx's objections, the council approved a final test. We'll participate, General Hale replied. But on one condition. The council speaker narrowed his eyes. Name it. If any of your personnel are placed in danger during the exercise, our soldiers will rescue them before completing the mission. The chamber fell silent. General Varek laughed. Chapter 10. Into the Impossible Battlefield. The artificial battlefield came alive with a blinding flash. Asteroids shifted into defensive positions. On the Council's tactical display, the odds were overwhelming. Simulation difficulty. Maximum. Even veteran Council commanders had never completed the course without suffering. Catastrophic losses. General Varek folded his arms confidently. Now we'll see the truth. The human army advanced. Not at full speed. Not in a reckless charge. Every ship moved deliberately, covering the one beside it. Recon drones mapped safe routes while engineers cleared hidden mines before the main force arrived. Medical ships stayed just behind the front line, ready before casualties could even occur. There was no confusion, no shouting. Every unit seemed to know what the others needed before a single order was spoken. Then the unexpected happened. A council observation vessel, positioned outside the simulation zone, suffered a sudden reactor failure. Warning alarms echoed through the Grand Council chamber. It's losing containment. Evacuate immediately. Before the council could issue a rescue order, 3 human rescue craft broke formation. General Varek shouted in disbelief. They're abandoning the exercise. General Hale remained calm. No, they're following their highest priority. Chapter 11. The Enemy They Never Expected. As the human army advanced through the final sector of the simulation, the council believed the outcome was already decided. The humans had adapted to every obstacle. They had rescued civilians without hesitation. They had crossed minefields, defeated drone swarms, and maintained perfect formation. General Varek clenched his fists. They're too perfect. Then, without warning, every tactical screen flashed crimson. Simulation override detected. The battlefield suddenly changed. This wasn't part of the scheduled exercise. A massive, unidentified fleet emerged from hyperspace on the edge of the system. Its ships carried no council insignia, no diplomatic codes, no known species markings. Within seconds, they opened fire. The first target wasn't the human army. It was the Council's observation platforms. Explosions lit up the darkness as several stations lost power. Council technicians stared in horror. Chapter 12. Humanity's First Stand. The unidentified fleet advanced without slowing. One transmission burst across every frequency. Surrender your council. Resistance is irrelevant. The chamber fell silent. No one recognized the language, yet every translation system reached the same conclusion. It wasn't a negotiation. It was a declaration of conquest. General Varek stared at the tactical display. Our defense fleets are too far away. A council officer whispered the words everyone feared. They'll reach the council stations in 7 minutes. Chapter 13. The General's Hidden Strategy. As the battle intensified, General Hale gave only one command. Phase 2. No explanation, no dramatic speech. Across the battlefield, the human army moved instantly. Several frontline ships deliberately fell back, creating what looked like a gap in their defenses. The unknown fleet took the bait and charged forward. Now, Hale ordered. Hidden human stealth frigates emerged from behind nearby asteroids, cutting off the enemy's escape while electronic warfare ships disabled their targeting systems. Within minutes, the attackers' advance came to a halt. Admiral Threx smiled. They didn't just prepare for a battle. They prepared for every move the enemy could make. The Galactic Council watched in stunned silence as humanity turned the invaders' confidence into their greatest weakness. Chapter 14. The Enemy's Terrible Realization. The invading fleet attempted to regroup, but every escape route was already blocked. Human fighters struck supply ships instead of battleships, cutting off the enemy's fuel and ammunition. Within moments, the invaders' formation began to collapse. Their commander finally understood the truth. This wasn't an ambush. It was a trap from the beginning. General Hale remained calm. Offer them one chance. A transmission reached the enemy fleet. Power down your weapons and surrender. There is still time to save your crews. The enemy hesitated. No one expected mercy from a force that had already gained the advantage. The Galactic Council watched in disbelief. Humanity wasn't fighting to destroy. It was fighting to end the war with the fewest possible lives lost. For the first time, even the invaders realized they had underestimated the human army. Chapter 15. The battle ends without revenge. For several tense seconds, no one moved. Then, one by one, the enemy warships powered down their weapons. The battle was over. Council commanders expected the humans to finish off the helpless fleet. Instead, General Hale gave a different order. Secure the prisoners. Treat the wounded. Ours and theirs. Human medical teams crossed the battlefield, rescuing injured soldiers regardless of which side they had fought on. The council watched in stunned silence. General Varric lowered his head. I thought strength meant destroying your enemy. Admiral Threx replied quietly. No, true strength is having the power to destroy them and choosing not to. That day, the Galactic Council stopped asking, is this really a human army? Instead, they asked a new question. How can we become worthy allies of humanity? Chapter 16. A New Alliance. Days after the battle, the Grand Council gathered once more. This time, the human delegation entered not as suspects, but as honored guests. Council Speaker Zirin stood and bowed, a gesture reserved for only the greatest defenders of the galaxy. Humanity, he declared, you did not save only our stations, you saved our future. General Hale returned the bow. We fought because peace is worth protecting. One by one, the council delegates rose to their feet. The chamber echoed with applause. Admiral Threx smiled. The galaxy asked if this was truly a human army. He looked toward the human soldiers standing quietly behind their commander. Now we know. It is an army built not only to win wars, but to ensure that future generations never have to fight them. The human army left the council hall in silence. But from that day forward, whenever a new threat appeared among the stars, the same message spread across the galaxy. Call the humans. For everyone knew that when humanity stood together, hope stood with them. Chapter 17. The Whisper Across the Galaxy. News of the battle spread faster than any official report. On distant worlds, children spoke of the humans who had defended strangers. Everywhere, the same story was told. The human army could have conquered, but they chose to protect. Months later, a small frontier colony sent a simple message to Earth. "Thank you for giving us another sunrise." General Hale read the transmission and smiled. "No medals," he said quietly. "No parades. This is why we serve." Chapter 18. The Signal from the Void. Just as peace began to return, every long-range sensor in the galaxy detected a single, mysterious transmission. It came from beyond known space. No origin, no ship. Only one sentence echoed across every frequency. "We are coming." The Galactic Council fell into silence. Some delegates panicked. Others looked toward the human delegation. General Hale calmly folded his hands. "Then we have work to do." Within hours, human shipyards came alive. Old allies answered the call. For the first time in history, the galaxy wasn't preparing to fight beside humanity. It was preparing to fight with humanity. Chapter 19. The Gathering Storm. Across hundreds of star systems, Allied fleets assembled under one command for the first time. Human engineers upgraded Council defenses. Alien scientists shared technologies once kept secret. Old rivals stood side by side. Then the sensors detected it. Thousands of unknown warships emerged from the darkness, stretching farther than anyone could count. Even Admiral Threx took a deep breath. "So, this is their true fleet." General Hale looked at the tactical map without fear. "No." He smiled confidently. "This is only the beginning." As alarms rang across the galaxy, every Allied ship moved into formation. The greatest battle in galactic history was about to begin. Chapter 20. The First Clash. The unknown armada attacked without warning. A wave of dark energy swept across the battlefield, shaking even the largest Council battleships. "Hold the line," General Hale ordered. The United Fleet answered as one. Human cruisers shielded Allied vessels, while Council destroyers returned fire. For the first time in history, dozens of civilizations fought side by side. The enemy expected fear. Instead, they found unity. A massive alien flagship pushed toward the center of the formation. General Hale gave a single command: "All fleets, advance." Thousands of engines ignited at once. The stars lit up with the combined strength of an entire galaxy. The final war had begun. Chapter 21. The Human Counterattack. The enemy flagship unleashed a devastating barrage, forcing several Allied ships to retreat. General Hale remained calm. "Execute Thunder Formation." Instantly, human squadrons split into smaller wings, striking the enemy from every direction. Confused and surrounded, the invaders struggled to respond. One by one, their heavy cruisers lost shields and drifted out of formation. Admiral Threx watched in amazement. "They're not fighting harder. They're fighting smarter." The enemy commander finally understood the danger. "Target the human flagship." But before the order could be carried out, dozens of Allied ships moved in front of it. Humanity had inspired the impossible. An entire galaxy had chosen to protect those who had once protected them. The tide of the war was beginning to turn. Chapter 22. The Turning Point. The enemy commander watched in disbelief as the United Fleet refused to break. Every time one ship was damaged, another took its place. Every loss strengthened the Alliance's resolve. General Hale saw the opening. "Target their command relay." A small squadron of human stealth ships slipped through the chaos and reached the enemy flagship. With one precise strike, the command relay was destroyed. Instantly, the enemy fleet lost coordination. Ships collided. Attack patterns failed. Confusion spread across their ranks. Admiral Threx smiled. The battle wasn't won by the biggest guns. It was won by the smartest plan. Across the battlefield, Allied forces surged forward. For the first time, the invaders began to retreat. Hope spread through the fleet. Victory was finally within reach. Chapter 23: The Last Stand. The enemy fleet retreated, but only for a moment. Their supreme commander appeared on every screen, his voice cold and unwavering. "If we cannot conquer this galaxy, we will erase it." A colossal weapon emerged from the heart of the enemy flagship, gathering enough energy to destroy an entire star system. Panic spread through the Allied fleet. General Hale studied the tactical display for only a second. "There is one way." He turned to his officers. "Prepare the flagship." Silence filled the bridge. Chapter 24: The Final Charge. The enemy's superweapon reached full power. Only seconds remained. General Hale looked across the bridge. For every world, forward! The united fleet accelerated as one. Human battleships led the charge, absorbing the first wave of enemy fire while Allied cruisers cleared a path. A small strike team slipped through the chaos toward the enemy flagship. Explosions shook the vessel as they reached the superweapon's core. "Charges set," the team reported. General Hale gave the final command: "Detonate." A brilliant flash tore through space. The superweapon collapsed, and a chain reaction raced across the enemy flagship. Realizing they had lost, the remaining enemy ships turned and fled into deep space. Silence returned to the stars. The battle was over. The galaxy had survived because humanity had refused to stand alone. Chapter 25: Heroes of the Galaxy. As the smoke cleared, rescue ships spread across the battlefield. Human medics and Allied crews worked side by side, saving every survivor they could find. The Galactic Council declared the war officially over. For the first time in history, every member world voted unanimously. Humanity would receive the Star of Unity, the highest honor the galaxy could bestow. General Hale accepted the award with a humble smile. "This medal belongs to every soldier, every ally, and every citizen who chose courage over fear. Today, we didn't witness the greatest army in the galaxy." He paused. "We witnessed the army that united the galaxy." From that day on, every military academy taught one lesson above all others: strength wins battles. Unity wins the future. Chapter 26: A Legacy Written Among the Stars. Years passed, and the galaxy entered its longest era of peace. The battlefields were transformed into memorials. Former enemies became trading partners. Children from dozens of worlds studied together at the newly founded Galactic Defense Academy. At its entrance stood a simple inscription: "Protect first. Fight only when there is no other choice." General Hale, now retired, visited the academy in silence. A young cadet approached him. "Sir, what made the human army so powerful?" Hale smiled and looked up at the stars. Chapter 27: The Final Lesson. On the anniversary of the Great Victory, leaders from every Allied world gathered beneath the restored Galactic Council dome. A new generation of cadets stood before them, waiting to hear the story of the human army. General Hale stepped to the podium one last time. "We were never the strongest species. We simply refused to give up." He looked across the crowd. "Remember this: weapons may win a battle, but character wins a civilization." The hall fell silent. Beneath it were the words that would guide the galaxy for generations. "The greatest warriors are those who fight so others may live in peace." And with that, the legend of the human army became more than history. It became the future. The end.
If you enjoyed this HFY Chronicles story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next journey across the stars. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next adventure.